Hello, my name is Luna, and in this video I'm going to tell you why I'm starting my art career over at 34. I used to be in the children's book industry for around 8 years, and it burned me out. That's basically what it all boils down to. It burned me out. And it burned me out because I realized that what type of artist I am doesn't align with the children's book industry. I had a lot of books published through Barnes & Noble, Amazon, everywhere where you can buy books. I had multiple series published, and it was, I didn't find fulfillment in it. Even though I would have these books published, and even though I would see them in stores, it didn't bring any fulfillment, because by the time the project was over, it had been over a year. And by the time it was published, I was already working on another book. And it was just not like satisfying or fulfilling as an artist. I also realized very quickly that I do not like working on the same project for more than a year. Or more than 6 months, and that is how long it takes to illustrate a children's book, because it's not just about illustrating you're collaborating with art directors and writers and the layouts and the characters, so it takes a long time. It's a slow industry. And I realized that I'm like, eek, this is not, I don't like this. And I felt kind of, my heart sank when I had that realization, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? I've worked so hard to be in this industry and have experience, and now that I'm working with big publishers, I realize this is not what I want to do, and I hate it. So that made me feel really sad. It made me feel like I wasn't supposed to be an artist. It made me feel like I made a mistake. I didn't want to do art. I didn't want to illustrate. I didn't want to consume art. I didn't want to see people make art, nothing. And it really got me down. So I took a sabbatical. I took a sabbatical for a month, or like a month and a half, and I didn't do anything. I didn't do art. I didn't try to figure out what to do with my life. I really couldn't. I was just a lump on the couch. I would literally stare outside the window and just not think of anything and not do anything. I would, get up, make breakfast, all that stuff, and then I would just sit in the couch, and that brought so much peace to me, knowing that tomorrow I can just chill and not worry about my career in art or anything. And I honestly thought that I wasn't going to do art ever again, that I was never going to find inspiration, that I'm not meant to be an artist because I don't feel the passion or the need to illustrate or draw every single day to keep up with like the Instagram algorithm of posting nonstop, to try to grow my presence online, because you have to do that as an illustrator. That's how you get jobs. But it was really hard because I would get some, oh, there's a bee. Can you shoo? Shoo. Shoo. Don't attack me! Ah! I come in peace. Sorry. Bees and buzzing insects freak me out. I've gotten better when I moved out here. We moved out here into the forest. I've gotten a little better, but sometimes my tolerance for them is really low. What was I saying? The sabbatical. So yeah, I didn't do anything. And it was so lovely, and it's exactly what I needed. And towards the end, when I was starting to feel a little better, I was like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be an illustrator or an artist. I'm supposed to be something else. Maybe I should do something else. What else do I like doing? And I really love animals, so I decided to open a Rover account and try to dog sit, pet sit, walk dogs and stuff. But we moved to a very small county and there's not a lot of people in our town, so I got one job. And when I did that job, it was really easy. I just went over to this person's house while they went to dinner, her and her husband, and I just watched their dog and let the dog go outside to use the bathroom. And I quickly realized I didn't want to do that either, because I didn't feel like being in service to someone that way. I didn't like that. I didn't like it. I felt like I was a cashier again in my early 20s, like in school. It just wasn't for me. So I stopped that. And then one time I was like just scrolling through YouTube and I came across this YouTube channel called Uncomfy, and it's about this clay artist. Her name is Tammy, and she has an online shop and she works with polymer clay and she sells stuff like her little creations. And I fell in love with the medium, with the tactileness of clay, because I was a digital artist, so everything I did was on the computer. I drew on the computer, painted on the computer, everything. And I don't know, I think maybe that's why it wasn't fulfilling, because there was nothing in my hands, not until a year later. But with polymer clay, you sculpt something and then you put it in the oven and it's done and it's right there. And yeah, you have to, glaze it with resin, but it's there, it's in your hands. You did that. And I fell in love with that. And so I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna do polymer clay. I'm going to open an online shop and I'm gonna make little creations from my little home in the forest, and that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. And I was like, yep, that's it. And I'm so glad I gave my brain a rest, because I was trying so hard to figure out what do I do, should I do this? I even at one point started to make a graphic novel, and I started to write it and draw it, and I'm like, I can't do this. I hate it. But it was really scary. It was really scary to leave the children's book illustration world behind and all the experience, all the connections and networking I've done, and start over with polymer clay and open an online shop. And yeah, it was really scary, but it brought a lot of peace thinking about that. So this past year, that's what I've been doing. I've been working with polymer clay, getting myself used to it, a lot of trial and error, researching about LLCs, how to open an online shop. I'm not doing Etsy, I'm doing my own website. And it was also a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And it was, at one point I felt like it would never end. And right now I'm close to the finish line of opening my shop finally, and it feels good. So my online shop is going to feature polymer clay items, keychains, little charms, just cute things, I eventually want to do manufactured items one day in the future, potentially, perhaps. I don't know. I might want to do a t-shirt or something in the future, or a bag, or stickers. I mean, I could always do stickers. But the name of my shop is going to be Sweet Nightfall. That's what I registered it as. I chose that name because when we moved here 2 years ago to the forest, it was a big adjustment for me. My husband and I have always lived in coastal cities, surrounded by a lot of people, not surrounded by a lot of nature. But when the pandemic happened, we got an opportunity to move out of the city, and buy a home with land and privacy. And we said, yes, let's do it. And we went up to Northern California, bought a house with property and nature. And we're out here in the forest. And it's beautiful. And I would never go back. I would never want to live in a suburb or a city. We actually lived in a downtown. And it was nice. It was nice. Cool experience because we're in a high rise, and it's like, ooh, you know, in movies and in TV shows you always see people living in high rises and, you know, all that, and it's a very different lifestyle. And I realized that I do not like that lifestyle. It's very convenient, right? There's a lot of things everywhere for you to do. There's things that you could just walk to the store, to any store, but the flip side of that is it's very loud. It's very smelly. There's no fresh air. It's bright. It's chaotic. And we were not thriving in that environment. We needed fresh air, space, privacy, nature, a calmer, slower pace of life. So we came here. And when we came here, I've never lived in a forest or with nature or anything. That was a big adjustment. As even something as small as walking on non-concrete or non sidewalks was hard. Like walking on gravel. Our driveway is gravel. Walking on, pine needles and leaves and uneven terrain and dirt and snow. I was like, how do you walk on gravel? Like, what do I do? Those kind of thoughts came into my mind. And I was even scared, like walking past 20 feet from our house, because I don't know, I felt like I was gonna get lost or something was gonna happen. There are bears and mountain lions here and foxes and coyotes and bobcats, all that stuff. So I guess I was scared because of that, When we came here, our neighbors were like, we know there's like bears here, and our neighbor always drives around with like a rifle on the back of his, on back of his like four-wheeler righty thingy. He has, livestock, so he has to protect that. I get it, but it just scared me, and they're being honest, so I'm glad. But I think the hardest adjustment I had was the nightfall when the sun would set. I don't know what it was, but I would get very sad and feel claustrophobic because the nights here are so intensely dark, especially in a new moon. No light whatsoever. And so I felt like when the sun was setting, I needed to go inside and I couldn't go out anymore because there's danger outside. So yeah, I was just so not prepared for how dark it was. In the city, when it's night, yeah, it's night, but there's like street lights, cars, businesses keep their lights on, buildings, high rises with like banks and stuff leave their lights on. There's light everywhere. But out here, you need a flashlight to go outside, or else, unless it's a full moon. Full moons are real. Full moons are so bright. We actually have to close down like all of our blinds, otherwise it'll like the moonlight will shine right in your eye, and you'll be like, is it day? Is there a light outside? What's going on? Oh, it's just the moon. So one day when I opened the window to let a breeze in, which a luxury, let me tell you, I've never done that in the city because you open your window and it's really bad air. I opened the window and I heard all the frogs singing, like so many frogs, almost screeching at times because they're so loud. And I just listened, and I just sat there and listened, and I'm like, wow, that is really cool. And then I looked up at the sky and the stars were amazing. You could see part of the Milky Way on a really, really dark night. You could hear owls. There's a lot of owls around here. And all of a sudden I didn't feel so alone, and I didn't feel scared. I realized that a whole new world wakes up when it's night, and that helped me feel better. And now I love the night. I love the night. I love listening to the creatures walking outside. We have cameras all around our house, so I can see what creatures are walking around our house, mainly skunks and foxes. And the foxes get on our deck. Like they'd come up to the deck and like play around in our deck, which is kind of funny. And I didn't feel so sad anymore. And I loved it. It's so magical. And I decided to name my shop Sweet Nightfall in a nod to the night here and how magical it is, and how, you know, a lot of people that come to our house to like work on the house, fix things, whatever, they have to come from like a big city, like an hour away. And when they come here, they're like you know, they really like the area and it's like so beautiful. But a lot of them are like, oh my God, I would go crazy out here alone. Like there's nobody. And you know, that's not exactly true. Like I have neighbors. Like you drive two seconds down the road and there's a neighbor right there, and there's a neighbor down the hill. We just have more property. Everyone has like bigger property, so we're more spread out, but there's people, you know. And I've heard a lot of those comments of people saying that like, oh, it's so empty, or it's so lonely, or there's no one, there's nothing. And that is not true. Let me tell you it is not true. I've never felt lonely out here. There's so much wildlife out here. There's so much life in general, with the plants and the flowers and the insects and the bees and the birds and the deer and the turkeys. And you know, a lot of people's dogs get out, or I don't know, they just can't contain their animals. So a lot of the times we like corral them, and then they usually have like a tag, and we call the number like, hey, your dog's in my property. So there's so much life, even at night. There's so much life. There's crickets, frogs, all the night creatures come out. And I never felt that way. I feel content here. I think when we go downtown to like the nearest city to like, I don't know, go eat or go shop or just kind of look around. It's too many people. The traffic is crazy, and I'm so ready to come back home after a day out. But I love it here. I would never live anywhere else. Like I would never live in a city again or a suburb. I would definitely live in other places where there's nature, but just I would never go back to a city. My hopes and my dreams for my shop are that I make a sale. I hope I make a sale online. That would be, even if it's just one. I know my friends and my family are gonna like support me, and you know, I'm sure buy something. But I want one sale of someone I don't know. That would be amazing. I would die happy. Thank you, I'm done. Go to sleep now. And my hopes are that I'm able to grow it sustainably. I've seen some statistics that small businesses last around 4 to 5 years, and then people stop because either they get burned out or they grow too much and they don't accommodate for that growth. And I don't want to do that. I want to do this for a long time. I want to do this for a long time. I love the idea of having a shop for myself that I can sell whatever I want, change things, because I'm a person that loves variety. I love variety in things. I love a routine, but I want some variety. So I love the fact that even though I already made items for the shop to open with, I've already designed more items for like the next launch, I guess, of collections that I sell. I'm already like done with that stuff, and I want to do more things. I'm so excited, and I love that. I also want to do craft fairs, and I actually was at a craft fair. I was actually a vendor at a craft fair in the beginning of October, which was an experience. I was looking on Nextdoor app, and my local market said that they're gonna have a craft fair in the parking lot and vendors are welcome. So I called up. They said, yeah, come on over, bring your own table, bring your own canopy, and yeah, just come over. And I was like, okay. And that was a week away when I realized, and I called, so I had a week to get everything ready. I didn't want to do it, but my husband was like, yeah, let's do it. I help you, I'll help you, I'll go with you. You could totally do this. You're almost done with all your products. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, that week I worked really hard. Every day till midnight. Finishing product, researching how to display things. Like I was watching a lot of Artist Alley vlogs on YouTube of how they displayed their stickers or their keychains. Super, super helpful. Ordering all that stuff, figuring out a sign, figuring out how I'm going to accept payment, because I know that like in fairs and stuff, people bring cash, but I also like, I don't carry cash, and I would like to just use my card. So I got the Square app and the Square card reader. So easy. I'm so glad I got that, because it also, you could input your cash sales so you could see how much you made. So yeah, we went on Saturday morning at 8:30. It started at 10 and we finished at 4. And I made sales. I was like, oh my God, what if no one buys anything? That's gonna be very embarrassing. But we were there for a little bit. It got really busy towards lunchtime. And I was talking to this young lady and her parents about polymer clay art, and she was asking me about how I glaze my things with UV resin. And then when they left, my husband showed me the Square app, and it had like a receipt, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, it's your first sale. And I'm like, what? When did this happen? And he said, while I was talking to the young lady and her parents, a lady came around the corner and bought something. And I was like, OMG. I was so happy. I had to restrain myself a lot not to like dance around and go woohoo, you know, because I felt that way, but I didn't. And every time I made a sale, I had to restrain myself again, because I just wanted to dance around and do a little dance and do a little whoop whoop, but you know, that's not cool. So it was amazing. It was amazing to sell stuff in person. As you know, an artist that works from home in my studio, I don't really collaborate with people all that much. And talking to someone about my art, hearing things about my art and selling things was like so gratifying and very motivating to keep going until I open my shop online. It felt like Christmas morning every time I would make a sale. Like, it was so magical and unreal, because you know, giving your money to like going to a craft fair and buying things, like that's someone's hard-earned cash, you know, that they're just handing to you because they like something. I don't know, it's so magical. I was over the moon, and I made 8 sales. And I loved it. So I'm gonna continue to go to craft fairs. Right now I'm only gonna go to my local ones. There's one really, and they're gonna have one this Saturday, but I'm not doing that one because I really want to focus on opening online. But I'm going to the one in December, which only gives me a month, and I want to make new things. Anyway, that got me a little scared. But yeah, craft fairs are fun. Even though I'm a major introvert, and talking to people that way drains my battery like this, it's so important. It's so important to socialize and talk to people. It fills me up a lot, but it drains me so fast. So it was nice to have my husband there, because he would, you know, he supported me through the whole thing. So when I would get kind of like, oh, hello, how are you? He would come in and like talk and, you know, break the silence. So I'm really grateful that he helped. For this channel, I'm going to make longer form content. I love long vlogs of people's everyday life. So that's what I'm gonna do with my channel. I'm going to share my progress and my journey of opening an online shop or having an online shop, and going to craft fairs, and just, you know, introduce myself to you, tell you more about myself. So that's what my goal is for this channel. It's hard for me, like YouTube and Instagram, it doesn't come naturally to me to market myself. It's very much something that I have to force myself to do. I have to push myself to do. And I'm thinking about the marketing aspect as more of a get to know me kind of platform. Not like, hey, here's my stuff, buy it, it's half off, sale. more like getting to know me as a person and showing you my art, and if you want to buy something, that's so cool. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it, and that makes it easier for me to approach it and to record and to post and all that. So if you like that kind of stuff, hang around, because that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, and I'm gonna show you my kitty and some nature and some snow and whatever else comes along. So thank you for stopping by and saying hello and letting me introduce myself to you. Thanks for listening to my hopes and my dreams and my struggles. Hopefully it gets better from here on out with my art career, and I can like art again or have a different relationship with art where it's fulfilling and not a huge pain in my butt. Art is weird. Art is weird. You love it and you hate it. Sometimes I make something and I'm like, this is the cutest thing I've ever made. I'm so glad I did this. This is amazing. And then 1 second later, I'm like, oh God, I hate it. I hate it. Why did I do it? It's probably lame. I need to do something else. Which is how I feel about all the stuff I already made for the shop. Like, I have 9 products that I made and they're ready to go. I took pictures and everything. But I already don't want to post them. I already want to do new things. But I don't know. I just need to be more chill with myself. Give myself a little more breaks. Like, your art is good. Just post it and like chill, man, you know? Well, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.